Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure today to present the results of a very interesting survey we ran, and it has to do with the challenges employees face with their leadership. And it's going to be across cultures. I know that everyone is very tired from a long day and from all the very interesting panels that we have attended in the past few days, but I promise you that the results of this survey are going to be very interesting, and it's not what you expect. So stay with me. I'm Panagiotidou. I'm managing partner of REBORRN. We are a boutique consultancy, and we work with big organizations globally to help them through the fast pace of the economy. We're 50 people across different regions, and we work mostly remotely. This survey was run by us along with Delphi Forum, and it is a great pleasure to present the results. So why did we run this survey? We had this kind of curiosity we always have at REBORRN. What makes organizations work more effectively, the ways of working that we need to have, and especially in Greece, that we tend to complain a little bit about our working culture. We wanted to shed a little bit light, on what is on top of our list as Greeks. To make it a little bit more interesting, we ran the survey in two very different cultures, alongside Greece, of course, to see, how we compare with these cultures. In particular, we ran the survey, as I said, in Greece, but also in the UK and in South Korea, a totally different beast. We focused on organizations that are big, like more than 250 employees, and we got quite a few responses, more than 800, which makes our sample quite valid. So the way that we ran the survey was that we took 30 challenges that we know from our experience are quite important, and we asked the employees, first of all, do you experience those challenges in your organization? And second, if you do, how frequent they are, and what is their impact? How important you feel they are. In true REBORRN fashion, we're going to share openly the data. We analyzed the results, and we found some very interesting insights, and yet we want you to have this data, to use it as you wish, and to also maybe draw your own results, your own insights and your own conclusions. So this is the QR code. Next week, a little bit after the forum, along with Delphi, we're going to share, of course, everything with you. So don't worry if you don't capture this now. Did you get it? You want me to go back? OK. So let's go to the key findings. First of all, we saw that the lack of recognition was the #1 challenge that employees face. And this was by a mile the most important one. And it was across like all the responses. So we saw that it was the #1 challenge that employees responded that they see in their organization. Now, the interesting thing is that while in the UK it was #3rd, and in South Korea it was #4th, in Greece it was #1. So 2 out of 3 Greeks feel that they're not recognized enough. And we will see also afterwards what this means and how it compares to the other challenges. Apart from this challenge being existent in their organizations, it was also something that employees felt it was frequent, so 46% said that, and it was very important, 3.7 out of 4. Now, an interesting correlation that we see with this challenge is that employees that felt that they are not recognized, they also felt that they don't see the meaning in their work. So we need to, this is just food for thought, of course. This survey is not analyzing causation, but gives us very nice questions to reflect upon and to maybe further research in the future. Now, the second finding is not very surprising, of course. Different cultures have different challenges. But, you know, let's see what were the differences. As I said before, in Greece, number one was that employees don't feel enough recognized. The second one was that the rationale behind the decisions is not always clear, and that only the most vocal individuals are heard. You know, politics and stuff like that. Let's see how this compares with the other cultures, UK and South Korea, and some, at least, thoughts from our side. In the UK, we see that the number one is that we operate as if everything is urgent, only the most vocal individuals are heard. People are not recognized for their achievements often enough. In South Korea, as we said, a very different culture. We prioritize the short term over the long term. The authority for decision-making is not always evident. The rationale for decisions is not always clear. So we see some patterns here. But what we also noticed was that somehow these results confirm the stereotypes that we may have, right? In Greece, we tend to complain a little bit more. We feel that maybe we deserve to be recognized a little bit more than we do. And we see that in the survey as well. Now, of course, again, we cannot draw any conclusions just from this survey. There could be a number of reasons. For example, the fact that we're not as well paid in Greece as the other countries. Now, the UK, a country that embraces structure a lot, we see that needs even more structure. They feel that we operate as if everything is urgent, or that only the most vocal individuals are heard. And South Korea, a very hierarchical country culture, feels that they need even more clarity in the hierarchy, like who makes the decisions, or how we prioritize the short term over the long term. So again, some food for thought to further explore. Now, the third one was particularly interesting and very, very surprising. We talk a lot about diversity, right? We have a lot of programs. We have heard, even in this forum, some very interesting panels about diversity and inclusion. Companies spend a lot of money, rightfully so, if you ask me, on diversity. But employees don't bring this challenge forward. Why is it so? The why I cannot answer. I can also, again, say a few thoughts. But it is very interesting to see that it's only 34% of the employees across all countries that they say that diversity isn't valued, is indeed a challenge. And this is the least one. It has the lowest score. In Greece, that was 35%, so very close to the average. In the UK, a more like multicultural company has the lowest even score. In South Korea, a less diverse, let's say, country has the highest percentage. But what struck us the most was the difference between men and women. So actually, women have a lower score. Men have 37%. Like, the difference is not that big, of course. And we see the older employees putting this forward as a challenge, the 65 plus. Disclaimer, this sample was not that big, but yet it is quite interesting. Now, when this challenge exists, when employees see it in their company, of course, it is very, very important. Why is it so? Long discussions, maybe ideas for panels for next year. What we thought, maybe, again, these are just food for thought, is that, first of all, we're talking about, a reminder, we're talking about big organizations, 250 employees or more, right? So these organizations maybe already have programs in place. They already have the right mechanisms to ensure that diversity is indeed valued. Or maybe, because many times these programs are not very substantial, they're quite superficial, to tick the box and to say that, yeah, I mean, we have a D&I program in place. Maybe employees are kind of fed up with this discussion because they don't see the actual impact. Again, food for thought, and maybe ideas for future research. Moving forward, the fourth finding had to do with innovation. We talk a lot about innovation. We say how we need to take more risks. We say that we need to give space and time to the employees to produce new ideas, etc. And yet what we saw from this survey is that what employees lack is actually execution, following through on the plans that the companies actually put in place. In particular, we focus too much on planning and not too much on action, and we don't keep up with the changes in the outside world, so the bare minimum, was evaluated as way, way more important as we are risk averse or that failure is not accepted and that we lack time to experiment. So, taking care of the brilliant basics, as we say, before we go on and to produce even more ideas or innovate or take risks is something that needs to be to keep in mind. The fifth finding is something that I think also connects very nicely with the previous panels that we heard within the day. We talked about generation gap and what are the differences between generations, etc. Many times we feel that younger generations have the need of more recognition, tap in the back, the bravo, there you go, etc. And we have this stereotype that this need is even greater in this group. And yet what the survey shows is that there were actually 10 other challenges that were way more important for this generation. And then it was the recognition. In particular, the most important one was their need to, the subjective views are prioritized over objective data, and in general, to understand the why behind the decisions. So maybe we should rethink a little bit how we approach these employees and how we keep them engaged by always sharing the why and not just, announcing things. The last one is also very interesting. Why? Because we spent a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of energy into alignment. We hire project managers, Scrum Masters, Agile Masters, endless times in meetings, in software, etc., because we want to be more aligned. And yet, we are more aligned than we might think. So it seems that this is not as an important challenge. And again, as we said before, the actual need lies into implementing what we are communicating, what we commit to. These were the ideas, these were the findings that we saw in this survey. Again, another QR code with a full report. However, next week, in a few days, we're going to share with Delphi the full report, the open source of the BI dashboard for you to see all the data, and some inspiration for solutions that you can take along with the results. Thank you very much.